Did you know that in several recent surveys, women in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s admitted something surprising? Many said they're actually more drawn to men in their 60s and 70s than to younger guys. Why? Because maturity, wisdom, and life experience create a type of magnetism that no wrinkle cream or six-pack can compete with. It's not about chasing youth. It's about embracing the stage of life you're in and realizing that attraction often grows stronger with age, not weaker. Think about it for a moment. While younger men might have energy, older men carry something far more compelling, the quiet confidence that comes from decades of living, surviving challenges, and learning lessons the hard way. Women notice that. They feel it in how you speak, how you carry yourself, and even in the way you listen without rushing to prove yourself. And here's the twist most men over 60 never hear. Those subtle qualities you've built over a lifetime. They may be the very things that make you irresistible right now. In fact, there are 7 overlooked signs, signals you might already be giving off, that reveal you still have that magnetic spark. Most men don't recognize them, but women do. So stick with me because in just a moment I'm going to walk you through each one of those 7 signs. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll see why age isn't the end of attraction, it's the evolution of it. If you're over 60, hit that like button right now because this video was made just for you. Let me introduce you to someone whose story may sound surprisingly familiar. Archibald Archie Kane, a 68-year-old widower from Ohio. Archie is not a movie star, not a millionaire, not the kind of man you'd expect to see in a glossy magazine. He's a retired history teacher who spends his mornings tending to a small garden and his evenings reading mystery novels. By all accounts, Archie believed his attractive years had ended the day he stopped working and the spotlight of daily life faded. Like many men his age, retirement hit him with an unexpected side effect: invisibility. At social gatherings, conversations seemed to drift past him. Younger people overlooked him in restaurants, and when he glanced in the mirror, he saw gray hair, deep smile lines, and a man who felt disconnected from who he once was. Archie thought women had stopped noticing him altogether. But then, subtle moments began to shift his perspective. At a local library, a woman complimented his voice as he read aloud during a community storytelling night. At a grocery store, another smiled warmly when he helped her reach an item from a high shelf. On a park bench, a stranger struck up a conversation, fascinated by his stories about traveling Route 66 back in the 70s. These weren't dramatic movie scenes, but they stirred something inside Archie. He realized he hadn't disappeared. He had simply been overlooking the very qualities women were quietly drawn to. Confidence, kindness, patience, humor, life experience. Things that only grew stronger with age. And here's what makes Archie's story so powerful. He didn't reinvent himself with flashy clothes or a younger lifestyle. He didn't need to. Instead, he began to notice the natural magnetism he already carried. Magnetism born out of a lifetime of lessons, resilience, and the ability to connect in ways younger men often can't. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly what made Archie irresistible again. More importantly, you'll recognize these same qualities in yourself, even if you've overlooked them until now. Because Archie's journey isn't just his. It's a mirror for countless men over 60 who still have far more charm and attraction than they realize. So, let's step into Archie's world and uncover the 7 surprising signs that show you're still magnetic to women. Not despite your age, but because of it. Sign number 1. The calm confidence. One of the first and most powerful signs that you're still irresistible as an older man is something many seniors underestimate. The calm confidence that naturally comes with age. Younger men often try to prove themselves, through flashy cars, loud voices, or trying to dominate conversations. But when you've lived through 6, 7, even 8 decades of challenges, struggles, and victories, something shifts. You no longer need to shout to be noticed. Your calm presence speaks louder than words. Archie discovered this without even realizing it. One afternoon, his daughter invited him to a family barbecue. Things got hectic. The grill wouldn't light, kids were running around, and tempers were flaring. While everyone else was panicking, Archie simply stepped forward, quietly adjusted the propane tank, and got the grill working. He didn't brag, he didn't make a big scene. He just handled it. Later that evening, a friend of the family pulled him aside and said, "You know, you have this way of making everyone feel safe when you're around." That moment stuck with him. Here's the truth. Women notice calm confidence. In fact, many women today are craving stability in a world that feels more uncertain than ever, with fast-changing technology, social pressures, and constant noise. A man who carries himself with ease, who doesn't get rattled over small inconveniences, instantly becomes magnetic. It signals strength, security, and reliability. Qualities that have always been attractive, but especially now. Think about your own life. You've weathered financial ups and downs, health scares, career shifts, maybe even the loss of loved ones. And yet here you are still standing. That resilience has created a quiet, unshakable confidence inside you. When you bring that calmness into everyday situations, women notice. It's in the way you pause before speaking, the way you smile instead of snapping back, the way you make others feel heard without rushing to give advice. And here's what makes it even more powerful. Calm confidence isn't about being passive. It's about projecting strength without needing to dominate. It's knowing you could get angry or flustered, but you choose not to. That's rare, and it's incredibly attractive. Archie once joked, "I don't raise my voice anymore. The wrinkles on my forehead already tell the story of my battles." That light-hearted wisdom, paired with his steady presence, made women lean in. They weren't attracted to noise or bravado. They were drawn to his peace of mind, because peace is magnetic. So here's the first sign you're still irresistible. Women feel safe, grounded, and even curious when they're around you. They're not responding to how fast you move or how loud you talk. They're responding to the quiet confidence that says, "I've lived, I've learned, and I know who I am." Have you ever noticed women respond differently when you stay calm instead of reacting? Drop your experience in the comments. You might be surprised how many men feel the same. Sign number 2, a story-rich life. The second sign that you're still irresistible as an older man lies in something you might take for granted: the richness of your stories. Women are naturally drawn to men with depth, and nothing creates depth like decades of lived experience. Every mistake, every triumph, every unexpected adventure becomes part of your charm. While younger men often talk about what they want to do, older men can talk about what they've already done. And that difference, it's magnetic. Archie noticed this by accident. He was sitting in his favorite coffee shop one rainy afternoon, flipping through an old photo album he had brought along to share with his granddaughter later. A woman at the next table glanced over, curious, and asked about one of the black and white photos of him standing beside a beat-up motorcycle on Route 66. Instead of brushing it off, Archie began telling her about the summer he and 2 friends rode across the country, sleeping in tents and living off gas station sandwiches. His eyes lit up as he spoke, and hers did too. What began as small talk turned into a 2-hour conversation. She admitted later, "You made me feel like I was right there on that trip with you." Here's the secret. Women don't just want facts, they want stories. And seniors have a treasure chest full of them. Whether it's about growing up before smartphones, serving in the military, building a career from scratch, or even the awkward first date you had at a drive-in movie, these stories create connection. They reveal layers of who you are and show that you've lived. But here's where many older men miss the mark. They either hold back their stories, assuming nobody cares, or they share them in a way that feels like lecturing. The magic lies in weaving your stories with curiosity and humility, not ego. Archie didn't brag about conquering Route 66. He laughed about the times his motorcycle broke down and how he once had to push it 3 miles to the nearest gas station. That vulnerability made the story even more attractive. Women today, especially those who may be a generation younger, are fascinated by the richness of a life lived before constant screens and social media. You become a window into a world they've only heard about. And when your stories are told with warmth and humor, they don't sound dated, they sound timeless. So the second sign that you're still irresistible is this: your life has given you more to share than you probably realize. Your stories aren't just memories, they're bridges. They invite women into your world and remind them that attraction isn't about age. It's about depth. Archie once said, "I used to think my stories made me sound old. Now I see they make me unforgettable." So think about it. What story from your past lights you up every time you tell it? Share it in the comments. You never know who it might inspire. Sign number 3. Gentle humor that hits different. The third sign that you're still irresistible as an older man is your sense of humor. Not the loud, attention-grabbing kind, but the gentle, easy humor that only comes with age. Humor changes as we grow older. When you're young, it's about trying to be the funniest in the room, cracking jokes to impress or to hide insecurity. But once you've lived through decades of ups and downs, your humor takes on a different tone. It becomes lighter, warmer, more self-aware. And that's exactly the kind of humor that makes women lean in instead of roll their eyes. Archie discovered this during a neighborhood dinner party. Someone asked him if he missed teaching high school kids, and without skipping a beat he replied, "I don't miss the homework excuses, but I do miss confiscating Walkmans. At least they couldn't hide those in their shoes like cell phones today." The whole table erupted in laughter. Not because it was a perfect punchline, but because it was relatable, nostalgic, and delivered with a twinkle in his eye. The woman sitting next to him told him later, "Your humor feels so comforting. It's like sharing a laugh with someone who just gets it." That's the secret. Gentle humor isn't about mocking others or proving how clever you are. It's about creating connection. It shows you don't take yourself too seriously, even in a world that often feels heavy. And for women, that kind of humor is irresistible because it creates ease. They feel safe to laugh, to relax, to be themselves. Another moment revealed Archie's gift for humor in an unexpected way. At the grocery store, when a cashier asked if he wanted a senior discount, he leaned in and said, "Only if it makes me look mysterious and not old." The young woman behind him giggled, but the older woman in line gave him a smile that lasted longer than the moment. It wasn't just the joke, it was the playful confidence behind it. Here's why this matters. Laughter releases tension. It signals youthfulness of spirit, no matter your age. A man who can laugh, especially at himself, radiates resilience. He shows that life may have left a few wrinkles on his face, but it hasn't taken away the sparkle in his soul. Women notice when a man's humor isn't forced, when it's rooted in authenticity rather than performance. That's what makes it so appealing. It's not about being the funniest guy in the room. It's about being the man whose laughter makes others feel lighter. So the third sign you're still irresistible is this. Your humor doesn't just entertain. It heals, it connects, and it reminds women that joy is timeless. Archie says it best. "The older I get, the more I realize laughter isn't about telling jokes. It's about sharing moments." What about you? Do you have a line, a memory, or even a silly habit that always gets a smile from others? Share it in the comments. Your humor might be exactly the reminder someone else needs today. Sign number 4. Unexpected modern edge. The fourth sign that you're still irresistible, even as an older man, is when you carry an unexpected modern edge. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't mean trying to dress like a teenager or forcing yourself into trends that don't fit. What makes women stop and notice is when a man their age, or even much older, shows he's still curious, adaptable, and open to the world changing around him. Archie never thought of himself as modern. He still preferred newspapers to scrolling on a phone. But one day, his granddaughter convinced him to download a music app so he could listen to the old blues tracks he loved. A few weeks later, Archie casually mentioned to a woman at his community center that he had discovered a new artist, a young singer who mixed old-school jazz with modern beats. Her eyes lit up. "Wait, you know who that is?" She admitted she never expected a man in his late 60s to be up to date with music trends. That surprise alone made him more intriguing. This is what I mean by a modern edge. It doesn't require you to master TikTok dances or obsess over the latest slang. It's about being open. It's about showing you're not stuck, that you can still grow, still learn, still evolve. In a world where many men over 60 get labeled as set in their ways, being the one who breaks that stereotype makes you stand out instantly. Archie found this again when he joined a Tai Chi group at the local park. Not only was it great for his health, but it became a conversation starter. Women admired that he was willing to try something new rather than sitting back and saying, "I'm too old for that." One even joked, "Archie, you're more adventurous than half the guys I know in their 40s. That playful comment stuck with him, because it showed that adaptability itself is attractive. Here's the deeper truth. When you stay curious about the world, whether it's technology, hobbies, health trends, or even new cuisines, you show women that your spirit is still alive and evolving. You signal that you're not a man who's fading into the background. You're a man who's still very much engaged with life. Women often say they want a partner who keeps things interesting. What's more interesting than a man who carries both timeless wisdom and fresh curiosity? That blend, old-school grounding with a dash of modern surprise, is irresistible. So, the fourth sign is this. You have a way of surprising women with your adaptability. You remind them that attraction isn't about pretending to be young. It's about staying engaged, curious, and willing to grow. Let me ask you this. What's one new thing you've tried in the last year that made you feel alive? Share it in the comments. You might inspire another man to try something new today. Sign number 5. Emotional presence. The fifth sign that you're still irresistible as an older man is your emotional presence. In a world filled with distractions, constant notifications, rushed conversations, and people staring at screens instead of each other, a man who can slow down and truly be present is rare. And rare, my friend, is attractive. Archie learned this in the simplest way. His neighbor, a divorced woman in her early 50s, often waved hello when he watered his garden. One evening she walked over, clearly upset after a difficult phone call. Instead of brushing her off or trying to fix the problem, Archie simply invited her to sit. He listened. He didn't interrupt, didn't rush to give advice. He nodded, he made eye contact. He let her speak until the weight started to lift. Later she told him, "You're one of the few people I feel I can really talk to. You make me feel heard." That moment reminded Archie of something powerful. Listening itself is magnetic. You see, emotional presence isn't about dramatic speeches or big gestures. It's about showing up in a way that makes others feel valued. Many younger men struggle with this because they're still proving themselves, still chasing status, or still distracted by the noise of modern life. But older men, especially those who've weathered loss, career changes, and the ups and downs of relationships, often develop a deeper ability to just be there. For women, this is gold. When you're emotionally present, you signal strength, maturity, and depth. You show that your interest isn't shallow, and that you're not afraid of real conversations. Women notice when you put down your phone, when you lean in slightly, when you ask thoughtful questions instead of rushing to the next subject. These small details create a sense of intimacy that's far more powerful than any pickup line. Archie likes to joke, "I may not run marathons anymore, but I can sit with someone for hours and actually listen." That's the kind of humor that hides truth, because women value a man who's grounded enough to hold space for them. And here's the part many men overlook. Emotional presence isn't weakness. It's strength. It takes courage to be fully engaged, to care, and to let someone know they matter. That courage makes you unforgettable. So the fifth sign you're still irresistible is this. Women don't just enjoy talking to you. They feel safe, respected, and understood in your presence. That emotional safety is something younger men often can't provide, but you can. And that makes all the difference. Now, let me ask you, when was the last time someone told you, "I feel like I can really talk to you"? If it's happened before, drop it in the comments. You might be surprised how many men share the same gift. Sign number 6. Strong but soft edges. The sixth sign that you're still irresistible as an older man is the balance you carry between strength and softness. It's the rare combination of being dependable and capable, yet open enough to show your emotions. In the past, many men were told to hide their feelings, to be tough, to never cry, to man up. But times have changed, and so has what women find most attractive. Today, the man who can carry groceries in one hand and wipe away a tear with the other is the one who stands out. Archie discovered this balance almost by accident. His granddaughter had a piano recital, and while she played, Archie couldn't help but tear up. He tried to hide it at first, embarrassed that others might notice. But when he let the emotion show, something surprising happened. A woman seated nearby leaned over and whispered, "It's beautiful to see a man not afraid to feel." That small moment reminded Archie that vulnerability doesn't weaken attraction, it deepens it. Strength alone can be intimidating. Softness alone can be overlooked. But together they create a magnetic force. Women admire a man who can step up when the car breaks down or when a problem needs solving, but who can also sit in silence, admit when something hurts, or express gratitude without shame. That contrast makes you memorable. Think about it. A man in his 60s or 70s has likely carried more weight, both physically and emotionally, than most younger men can imagine. You've built careers, raised families, endured hardships, and kept going. That strength is undeniable. But the soft edge, the ability to show affection, to laugh at yourself, to admit you don't have all the answers, that's what makes you irresistible. Archie summed it up perfectly one evening. While helping a woman from his church carry bags of donations into her car, he said with a grin, "I've still got the muscle, but I don't mind admitting when my back complains later." She laughed, but she also looked at him with admiration. Why? Because that balance, being strong enough to help, but honest enough to admit his limits, is authentic. And authenticity is magnetic. So the sixth sign that you're still irresistible is this. Women notice when you can be both the rock and the river. Firm when needed, gentle when it matters most. That rare blend is not only attractive, it's unforgettable. Let me ask you, do you find it harder to show strength or to show vulnerability? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your answer might encourage another man to embrace both sides of himself. Sign number 7. Legacy and purpose. The seventh sign that you're still irresistible as an older man is your sense of legacy and purpose. At this stage in life, attraction isn't just about how you look or what you own. It's about the meaning you carry, the values you live by, and the impact you leave behind. Women notice when a man has direction, even after retirement. They admire a man who still wakes up each day with something to give, something to share, something to live for. Archie didn't realize how much this mattered until he started mentoring young musicians at a local community center. Music had always been a quiet passion of his, but after his wife passed, he felt adrift. Teaching those kids not only gave him joy, it gave him purpose. One afternoon, a woman who volunteered there pulled him aside and said, "The way those kids light up around you, it's one of the most attractive things I've ever seen." Archie was stunned. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was simply living with purpose. Yet that very passion radiated outward, drawing others in. Here's the truth. Women are deeply attracted to men who live with meaning. A man with purpose feels alive. He's not stuck in the past or resigned to fading away. Whether it's volunteering, mentoring, creating art, staying active in his church, or even building stronger bonds with family, purpose keeps a man magnetic. And here's the key. Your legacy isn't about grand achievements. It's about the everyday impact you have on people around you. Holding the door open, sharing wisdom without arrogance, showing kindness when it's not expected. These things echo. They make women think, this man's presence matters. Archie once put it best during a late-night conversation with a friend. He said, "I used to think my value ended when I retired. Now I see that my purpose didn't retire with me. It just shifted." That realization didn't just change his life. It changed how women perceived him. His sense of direction, his willingness to keep contributing, made him irresistible in ways he hadn't been when he was younger. So the seventh sign is this. When you carry legacy and purpose, you radiate a kind of attraction that no amount of youth can compete with. Women are drawn to men who remind them that life after 60 isn't about winding down. It's about leveling up in meaning. Let me ask you, what gives you a sense of purpose today? Whether it's family, creativity, or helping others, share it in the comments. You never know who your answer might inspire. So let's circle back to Archie, the widower from Ohio who once thought his days of being noticed were long gone. Remember him sitting alone in his garden, convinced that age had pushed him into invisibility. That same man now walks into a room with a quiet steadiness that makes people turn their heads. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't force charm. He simply carries it because every one of the 7 signs we've talked about has become a natural part of who he is. Archie didn't suddenly look younger. He didn't dye his hair or pretend to be someone he's not. Instead, he leaned into what makes older men irresistible. His calm confidence made women feel safe. His story-rich life gave conversations depth. His gentle humor broke down walls. His unexpected modern edge kept him interesting. His emotional presence made women feel truly heard. His balance of strength and softness created trust. And his legacy and purpose reminded everyone around him that a man's best years can still be ahead. That's the transformation. Archie went from feeling invisible to realizing he had a kind of attraction he never had in his 30s or 40s. Not the flashy, surface-level attraction, but the deep, lasting kind that women of all ages admire and respect. And here's the truth. His story isn't unique. It's yours too. If you've ever felt like the world stopped noticing you after 60, remember this. Attraction doesn't retire. It evolves. The qualities that make you magnetic now are the ones that only time, experience, and resilience could give you. And those qualities are worth more than 6-pack abs or smooth skin. They're timeless. So let this be your reminder. You are not past your prime. You are in a new prime. And if you start recognizing these signs in yourself, you'll realize you've been carrying that spark all along. Now, before we close, I want you to take a moment and reflect. Which of these 7 signs do you recognize in yourself? Maybe it's your humor, maybe it's your presence, maybe it's your sense of purpose. Drop it in the comments, because your story might be the exact encouragement another man needs today. And if this video opened your eyes, do 2 things for me right now. 1. Hit that like button, it helps spread this message to other men who need it. 2. Subscribe to Senior Relationships After 60 for more videos that prove age is not a limit. It's an advantage. Share this with a friend, a brother, or even a father who needs reminding that he's still got it. Because the truth is, if Archie found it again, so can you.